do you think that there's an issue if, let's say, we do make a rule, like the organizer chooses, with the venue, uh, to only allow people who are vaccinated to enter there?
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a very, very special edition of Freedom Hall. I am Mary Beth Nave, by the way. I'll be your host for this amazing session this afternoon. So, Freedom Hall has become a cozy get together for the cosplay community, J culture, and hobbyists, really, which is absolutely free to join. So there's no entrance fee required for this particular event, online event. So you may now go invite your friends and they can join you right here, right now. Like they say, the more the merrier. So just let your friends know, family and friends know, and join the Chikahan this afternoon. So Freedom Hall is brought to you by Cosplay.ph and it's powered by Habay Toy Store, TT's, Perry in Disguise. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's edition will be a collaborative discussion about the future of events, really. So, we're going to be exploring this afternoon and figure out how to paint this picture wherein we can finally enjoy the events that we used to love to go to and look forward to something that we can attend to because amidst of these challenging times and what the pandemic did to our lifestyles and the world. So please join me as I will be interviewing and asking questions, and it should not just be me. You are free to ask this impressive lineup of guests this afternoon. So all of them actually have been a part of an event and or they're event organizers or the venue of actual events for the longest time. So these are the people who are lined up for all of you. So you know what? Without further ado, let's get to meet them. First of all, we have a veteran cosplayer turned organizer and also the guest and sales director of Cosplay.ph. Everyone, please give an online round of applause for the lovely Jewel Wong. Hey, Jewel!
Hi.
Hi. Great to see you and hear you here. I'm not seeing you though. There you are. Okay. Well, at least I don't see you in the actual event where you're gonna run up to me and you're gonna carry me like and I have to run
Yes,
away.
that's how I greet you all the
And that's
time.
what I miss. And see, that's something this online event is keeping me safe from. Not just COVID, it's keeping me safe from Jewel.
Oh
So
wow, nice. Thank you.
our next organizer is has been organizing one of the biggest cosplay events in the Philippines, and in fact, he's the reason why I got to dress up and really be my character in so many years because of this particular event. And so he's none other than the president himself of Cosplay.ph. You've seen him. He's cosplayed. He's done a lot of voiceovers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Pablo Bayran.
Welcome everybody to this edition of Freedom Hall. We're gonna have a lot of great discussion here today. So thank you very much, Mary Beth, for that very enthusiastic welcome. And I'm glad to see what we're gonna be talking about today. And greetings to everybody in Facebook land, everybody here in our little gathering of people who haven't seen since the pandemic started. So I'm really excited to get this going.
So they are the exhibitors. What is an event without, people exhibiting things and stuff and aside from themselves? So first up, we have an attendee of various local conventions as an indie artist since 2014. So their group is called the Nyanarin. So they offer artist merchandise of prints and stickers, keychains, customized plushies, commissions, and custom Nandoroid doll commissions. So if you're really into, let's say, this huge crush, you could have a whole line of plushies that's made after her and then bombard her friends or do a campaign. That's possible thanks to these people. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Freedom Hall none other than Justin Bellino. Hey, Justin!
Hey, good afternoon.
Hi! Video, there you are! Wow! Whoa, look at all those plushies. Are you selling those?
Oh no, those are personal collection.
No! That makes it even so much more. How do you put it? It's got more. It's more priceless, right? If it's not taken out of the plastic, or am I talking
Oh
about
no
a
no no
different?
no. We put them back in it so they don't get dirty.
Next, we have a hobbyist and gaming aficionado who loves designing apparel inspired from anime and games. So she's the co-owner of community clothing brand Harry in Disguise. So for those of you who have questions on how she's able to also do this amidst the challenges, please put your hands together. None other than Ressa Arce. Hey, Ressa.
Hello. Hi po. Good afternoon,
Hello.
everyone.
Rounding off our panel of exhibitors is the president of Ludus Distributors. So please give a warm welcome to Freddie Tan. Hey, Freddie.
It's glad to see a lot of familiar faces in this talk. So I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Events need venues, and venues are very crucial to the safety, comfort, and enjoyment of attendees. So we have three very important people representing our favorite event venue. Who hasn't been here, right? It is the go-to place of events. Ladies and gentlemen, the SMX Convention Center of Manila. So I miss that place. Let's start with our first guest. This person is the National Sales Manager of SM Hotels and Conventions Corporation, who's been with the company since 2015. Please give a warm welcome to Kirsten Francia. Hi, Kirsten.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you too for inviting us.
Okay, so now let's also introduce our another national sales manager of SM Hotels and Conventions Corporation, who has been with the company since 2019. Please give a round of applause to RV Valentino. Hi, RV.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Thank you for inviting us here.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, finally to complete our roster, let's welcome the Assistant Vice President of Sales of SMX Convention Centers in the Philippines. So she's been with the company for almost 12 years. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Miss Mina Khan. Hi, Miss Mina.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting us, Maribeth, also.
Oh, wow. You're so lovely. Like, I've only heard your voice. I've never
Really?
seen you on video. I
Oh,
love everybody's look. So I guess this is going to
thank
be a
you.
fun discussion. Yeah?
Yes, it will be.
Okay, so we're all ready. So, ladies and gentlemen, are now meeting the VIP guests. If you have any questions, please do also send in your your questions or comments, because an event will never happen if there are no attendees. So, in short, what's really important is also the audience, and that is you. So, if you have any suggestions you'd like, you could send in your questions through chat on Discord or a comment on our Facebook Live. So you know what? Let's get this ball rolling. So really, the very first question is, with the current health climate in the Philippines, particularly in our country, is it really advisable to have live conventions by the end of this year?
Right now, yes, we do want to have events by the end of the year, but of course, we have to practice safety protocols in what the IATF has in place, and also the LGU. And we've been practicing that in SMX. So as much as we want to, it's actually building the confidence of the organizer, the exhibitors, and of course the attendees. So how to do that? That's where we're moving from. That's the big gap that we're trying to hit, and maybe we tend to miss. But of course, we're doing this right now, a collaborative discussion to see how we can help you to help us. And of course, to help the entire community.
Agree. I'm going to add on to this. We have already a viewer. His username's Migir. He's mentioned he's a tourism student, and as a future tourism professional, He said travel behavior will have a huge effect when it comes to events, given that the population will be vaccinated, but the fear of contracting COVID when going outside, especially cosplayers, will have an effect on our overall mindset on how to interact with friends and people. How will SMX and the LGU handle the sudden increase or decrease of tourist influx con goers? Do you think this will have an effect for future events and conventions to follow?
Okay, let's dissect that. Um, okay, so the first step is that we're opening borders domestically, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so how to do that, how to control that, I think we're doing quarantine, right? For 7 days, depending on what state or province you're going to. So each LGU has to follow that, and we also follow that. So that's a strict compliance that we have to do. And then, of course, as a venue, we follow also what guidelines the organizer has in place. Will they allow domestic people from other provinces to come in? Will that be allowed? Or are we just thinking of with the locals near the venue? So it's really a collaborative arrangement, and of course, a cooperation with everyone, not only the LGU, organizer, and the venue.
Uh,
Yeah.
at this point, I think we can't really make decisions, and
Mm.
we're really waiting for guidelines from our government on what is going to be allowed and what's not. And of course, when and if we do join events again, we'll have to consider the confidence level, like what Miss Mina said.
Yeah.
There will be no point to us joining or actually even organizing an event if we can't build the confidence of the congoers or our customers to join or attend the event. So before we even consider joining, we have to have set safety measures, safety conditions. Uh, Probably, what I'm foreseeing is, which is entirely possible, is that there might be vaccine passports implemented,
Mhm.
maximum number of people in a convention hall would have to be implemented. Of course, all these things would affect the cost and potential revenues of an event. So those things have to be considered as well.
Yeah, agree. Agree.
Actually, Freddie, you brought up a good point, and it's actually something that we discussed also a little bit in our website, in our Facebook page. Do you think, because I've seen other conventions in other countries, and now they're
Mhm.
requiring vaccination passports or proof of vaccination, and that's really the trend that they're starting to go for in entertainment venues like sports venues or other kinds of events. Do you think that it's possible here in our country, or are there like legal restraints? Are you not allowed to discriminate uh, based on somebody's vaccination status?
Historically, things like this, although it kind of infringes on a person's individual freedom,
Mm.
like to make decisions about their own bodies. The thing is, venues like SMX, and even if there's no what do you call this, there's no government mandate, and even businesses or convention organizers can implement this themselves. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, these entities are also private individuals who can make decisions that they think would be to build the confidence of their attendees, or so whether or not it's a government mandate, I think there will be organizations that will be implementing it. And I don't think it's so much as a violation of a personal freedom, but it's more of a thinking about the common good.
Yeah.
So I know we have a rule about on this discussion to avoid politics, but at least in this area, I think uh, just have to balance personal freedoms versus
Mhm.
a common good. So I think that's really the main issue there. So and I personally wouldn't be against having
Mhm.
vaccine passport rules, but of course it's not something we can implement yet, and it's
Yeah.
something that I wouldn't implement at this point because We only have, I think, 15% of the population fully vaccinated. So until we get a reasonable number that can't be implemented right now in a fair way, until we reach a point that the only people who are not vaccinated are the people who have chosen not to be vaccinated.
Mm. Maybe also a good idea would be to incentivize those that
Mhm.
are vaccinated for events. That will work, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I will get vaccinated 4 times.
Wait, that's illegal.
Yeah, with different LGUs, I'm gonna hop from one to the other, and I just broadcasted that, so there goes my plan of this week. Yeah,
Actually, Bettina, I have a
I'm
question
so
for you because
sorry.
this is actually something that is kind of touchy because I've seen it in other countries where people make a big deal out of venues requiring vaccinations for their events, and they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
well, it violates my right to choose whether to
Yeah.
get vaccinated or not. Uh, but then again, businesses, do have the right to allow entry
Mm-hmm.
or disallow entry based on certain criteria. Like if you're there in a sando, we can choose not to let you in, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Yeah, yeah,
same kind of thing. Uh,
yeah.
do you think that there's an issue if let's say we do make a rule like the organizer chooses with the venue uh, to only allow people who are vaccinated to enter there, and it could be something like a small gathering. There's a limited number of people lang, and then you just say that okay, only the for now only the vaccinated can come. I understand that not
Mm-hmm.
everybody can get vaccinated at this point, but for the general safety of the people who are there, maybe it's better for just that event that only vaccinated people can come. Or is it a bad PR thing? That are you kind of showing your like a prejudice or discrimination against people who aren't yet able to get the vaccine?
Okay. Personally, we still follow the LGU guidelines. So there is still no rule that states that a private entity will not allow those that are not vaccinated. Now, if the organizers prefer their event for those that are only vaccinated, then it becomes an incentive. So it becomes a privilege to be in that event. So it encourages people to take the vaccine, maybe, if that's the push, if that's the goal. I mean, what's the goal? The goal is to get more people vaccinated. The goal to have for safety, for control. That's how I see it. But we're not saying that you cannot do it. But as a private venue, we still allow people who are not vaccinated and people who are vaccinated.
And I'd like to call on Corina Carreraisu. Okay, Corina Carreraisu. I hope I
Oh, over
mentioned
here.
mention the name properly. If you could turn on your mic and video, and you could ask our guests your question regarding events.
I'm here. Hi. Um, yes, so first of all, thank you for the opportunity. Okay, my question is that how will you heighten your policies pertaining to health protocols? Like, even if there are some activities that may require physical touch, like for example, there are food stalls or booths or where you basically buy any merchandise there or etc. And will it consume much bigger space in locations and higher expenses to entrance fees to events? LPL.
Okay, I think partially that's part of based on the venue policies because as organizers we
Yeah.
have to follow the venue policies. As far as I
Okay.
know, there is a requirement because we do need to observe physical distancing. So booths will definitely be larger and less populated, so that we would spread around the number of people inside the event. I also think that the venues need to monitor, and I think they will monitor the population that is existent inside the event venue, so that because we do that have that mandate by the government, whether it's 30% or 20% or 50% or whatever percentage that is. As for the cost, of course, it would cost more because you are generating less sales from people because there's less people. You have less space for exhibitors, so you have less exhibitors. Uh, but I think we need to adjust. we need to adapt to the situation. We need to make sure that because one of the things that events have and events are, they are a safe space, and you can't lose that because if you lose that idea that you are a safe space for people, where you are safe to be a geek, a cosplayer, a anime fan, if you lose that, then you lose that confidence that people have in your event. And I think that core confidence, organizers who've been here for what we've been doing this for over 10 years, probably uh,
2 decades.
before for a huge length of time. And I believe every year that we should improve and make things better for the people who go to our events, because without the people who go to our events, we can't exist. I don't know if
I'd like to do a follow-up question to Corinne's question. You kind of touched on it, but didn't really expound on it. But what I've seen happen, kasi with other conventions in the States, is they know there's going to be limits on the number of con goers that they can accept. So the number of tickets they can sell because of social distancing, plus the fact that a lot of the exhibitors or sponsors have now are now spending more marketing budget on online campaigns rather than on conventions. So that's going to be a very, very big challenge for live events. But a lot of your costs are going to be constant. Of course, I think SMX will give you a very good consideration.
I hear you there. I hear you there.
But
Wait, it's getting choppy.
but a lot of your costs are going to be constant, are not going to change. Like for people, you're not going to pay them less because,
Correct.
diba? So what I've seen happen overseas is some conventions have increased their ticket prices to disastrous results. So, do you see something like this happen for specifically Cosplay Mania?
Okay. This is all unofficial. Well, we're being broadcast, so we can't be on that. But I think that the first thing and the major thing that you have to address is first confidence in your event.
Yeah.
So raising the ticket price to exorbitant amount to reflect your additional costs is not the correct. I don't believe is the correct path to success. You have to sort of build their trust. Once again, it's like starting from ground zero again, and part of that is the idea of advertising it in the event itself. As in, you have to show that first of all that you're observing the safety protocols, that you're doing everything you can. But to be able to show that, you have to first draw the audience to go to you. So I think for the first initial ones, to be honest, I'd be happy to just break even for the event, or even make a little bit less than we're basically just trying to recover what we lost, because that's the most important thing. You're now you're away from trying to think that okay, we're gonna make X amount of money from this event. I think the first thing you need to do is build it up again. Basically the whole situation is flattened. Flattened the whole events scene. So we have to build it up again. Sometimes building it up again requires sacrifice.
Actually, Pablo, it's also being relevant to the community again.
Correct. Because we've been gone for so long. It's like being absent. People forget about
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
You have to rebuild that relationship.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. Let's start off with that, rebuilding the relationship. But first off, thank you again to Corinne. I loved, she the whole get up, including the pink background. That
Yeah.
is, and you don't see that in an event. Although I have seen people bring an actual curtain as background, and they were taking photos of themselves. I miss that in live events, but here we're able to do it more. So starting off with what Miss Mina and Pablo were talking about, rebuilding back that connection and the trust with the community. Let's now talk about what are the safety precautions each of you are now taking today and or will be adapting in the future, considering that we might be conducting an event soon within the year or
Mm-hmm.
before the year. So maybe I could also start with Jewel, because Jewel has been handling international guests. So now you're going to be thinking about, okay, what are the safety precautions I'm doing now with myself and the family? What can I adapt with the particular event and business? What are some of those? And anybody can jump in later on, but I'll start with Jewel. Jewel, what do you think?
Uh, Basically, there's supposed to have a lot of check-ins where people could just get like a wipe or like an alcohol spray or whatever. It can be a freebie for those who are congoers. For international guests, that's a little tricky because I think not necessarily locked down in terms of no one's gonna go in and out of the country. It's just that, of course, we have to consider the um time they spend in the country, and I think they have to quarantine themselves. There's like a quarantine like 14 days and then another 14 days somewhere or whatever, and you have to make sure that everyone's vaccinated as at the least. That's the least of the problem. So yeah, and a lot of artists nowadays doesn't really like to go out as well, so it's kind of like not gonna happen anytime soon.
Facebook question. Marvin said, I was wondering about the organizer side for SMX having a different policy. How would SMX handle them, like event A doesn't ask for vaccination card, but event B will be asking for a vaccination card before entering? How would SMX follow such mixed organizer policies? Okay. So, like, for example, you have like two main halls. One event organizer allows people to come in without a vaccination card, but in event organizer hall B, they're like, no, we need you to have a vaccination card. How will you manage both? Because that's going to be like a mix of people entering the event area.
Okay. So for the vaccination card, okay, as mentioned a while ago, we will get back to that on how to apply because we have to get more information. If it's going to be allowed, if it's going to be a policy, or if it's going to be something that's mandated. So how to do that, like hall 1 requires vaccination card, hall 2 doesn't require. Honestly, for me, that also will be a chaos. But we will get there. We will get there, okay? Because as mentioned, we are very resilient. We try to think of new ways to get things done. And if that is a requirement of an organizer, or if it's a policy of DOT, LGU, of course, LGU and DOT will always ask us what is practical and what is possible. We will give them our recommendation. They will hear it out if it's going to follow IATF guidelines. Again, of course, we will not make everyone's lives too much difficult, but we will still practice safety precautions at all places.
Well, I
I
guess.
just want to add.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead,
I just
Pablo.
want to
Go ahead.
add that we've had events with conflicting policies in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been beside some K-pop events, some marketing events, some religious events. So
Yes.
you just need to be a little bit more creative on how to
Yeah.
be good neighbors, shall we say?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
but I think there has to be, number one, there has to be a base set of protocols that everybody has to adhere. You can't have like, okay, over here you're allowed face mask, over there you're not allowed face mask. You can't do that. It's not possible. So
Yeah.
first of all, you have to have your foundational health and safety protocols. After that, then you think about the logistics of how to get people from point A to point B in a safe and efficient manner. Trust me, Cosplay Mania has had years and years to think about that situation. We've had the whole debacle with the line situation in a certain year. I think Freddie, you were part of that, where the lines were like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
But we managed to overcome it,
Yeah.
and you know what?
True.
the reason why we're talking about it now. Yeah,
You
right
know what?
now we can have events, right? But we have to
You know,
think about it.
Pablo.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying a while ago that the department or the people that misses you the most is our security people. They
You
miss
know
you
them
so
all.
much.
Yeah,
They miss you so
you
much.
all know me because I'm like the guy who runs around
I
the whole
know.
venue. I'm like the guy. You know me if you're like a fun goer. I'm the guy who gives out water at all those people waiting, to get into the venue.
Yeah.
And I think that's
See?
important because it has to be a personal experience.
Yes.
I shouldn't be. Actually, I don't even tell people I'm the president. I'm like some guy
Yeah.
who works for and I want to get to know people and not them to be able to form that relationship with me. That we care about you.
Mm-mm.
It's a relationship with the congoers. It's not we're the store, you're the customer, and that's it. It has to be a relationship because otherwise, why go to our events? It's a lot
Yeah.
of events to go to, but we
Great.
want when
Papa's
you're
gonna
in
give us free entrance fee, guys.
well, it's like our event is our home, right? And this is a very Filipino thing, right? You have to
Yeah.
be hospitable. It's like the law, the social law that if you're a guest
Mm-mm.
in my house, you have to be like treated as extra special.
So I have this question because us cosplayers, we want to have the picture perfect moment. And I was wondering, is it possible that there will be a special area for cosplayers to remove their mask and be able to pose in their full cosplay in all that glory? But considering the pandemic, will that be allowed, especially for cosplayers?
Before Pablo answers, I'd like to say that what I expect to see is a lot of people in Fallout costume with gas masks and everything.
Built-in PPE, biohazard costume.
Yeah, yung mga ganong klaseng costume, yung mga may mga mask na talaga built in. So they don't have any problems about staying true to character.
For me, we have to first of all follow, of course, the guidelines given to us by the local governments and such. If we can find a happy middle ground, like for instance, if say you're allowed to take off your mask for a certain duration only, just enough for the photo op, and then put them back on. That's possible. Uh, maybe you're allowed to go, let's say, to a specific backdrop, and then remove your mask for a few and out with the idea that there's a certain distance. So basically like an enclosure of some sort where you're required to be a certain distance. Those are possible, but again, cannot be the final arbiter of that. We have to follow whatever the LG or the national government provides us as guidelines for that. Um, one thing we do want to do though is we don't want to lose that whole photo op opportunity
Mm.
thing. Because that's one of the things that you go to cosplay events because I want to have my photos with cosplayers. That's the whole idea, and I don't think we'll find a way. Let's put it that way. We'll find a way. But I'm glad that you brought it up because that's one of the big concerns that we do have because we understand that's one of the big draws to cosplay event is having those photos. What we did do in one event is that they took off their mask but they had face shields on. That's another option. It's not as attractive, but at least you can see the person's face. But I think we will have to compromise.
Oh, I see, I see.
Safety is the most important thing.
But I hope that it will come to a time that there is no facial face mask because the cosplay experience is so different and much more uplifting, especially when you're free to go ahead and express yourself through your makeup, through your costume, and not being hindered by those masks and face shields.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
It's not just comfort. It's freedom. Freedom. That's why you're there. Because you want to maybe the idea is it's a different area, and then you have to have a number, and then you get to interact with the photo op area, and then after that after a certain time you have to leave. That way you're allowed to remove your mask when you're certain distance away from the person. So those are possible. I mean, you can do it with eating, for instance, in eating establishments. Maybe the photo op area has to be a open air photo op area. So that it's less prone to viral infection. So those are things that we have to consider. But that's definitely one of the priorities that we're looking at in events is being able to have those photo ops, especially with people that you haven't seen in a long time. That you go like, oh, let's all play cosplay from this certain anime, and we'll complete the group, and we'll have a photo, and we'll be able to see each other's faces. So that's really important to us as well.
Hey, Pablo, what I've seen overseas is that what they do with people who want to take photos is they have this acrylic barrier na transparent, and then the two people are side by side, and then with the barrier in the between.
Like
So in
Tokyo,
restaurant.
So
yeah,
in the picture, you only
Olympics.
see a thin line, but it looks like the two people are side by side.
Yeah, side by side. Yeah.
So that way you protect the cosplayer or your guest, diba? Your celebrity guest, because the congoer is just on the other side, pero magkadikit sila sa picture.
So that's an option that we can take a look at. And as usual, we'll be very vocal with you guys. We'll ask your opinions, your ideas. We're very receptive to all those new ideas, so that we can work with something that, because at the end of the day, you have to live with it, right? You guys will be part of the event, and we want to make it as comfortable for you as possible.
Okay, thank you so much for answering, and hope you guys have a nice day.
The next question is, are there any certifications that are needed to participate in an event, such as safety officers, suppliers, exhibitors, and production people? Like, for example, for SMX, for exhibitor and organizers, do you also need to have protocols or certain additional certifications now during these times when you'd like to operate an event?
For SMX, we are not requiring any documents or certifications as of the moment, unless it will be mandated by the government. So nada as well.
Okay, good. Whew, good to know. Not additional licensure. For the exhibitors though, was there any like additional appendix on a certain piece of paper that said that, okay, if you're gonna be an exhibitor and you're on a business, you have a business, you have to get this additional requirement or certification from the government? Did you experience anything like that? I guess for Rasa, for Justin, for Freddie,
Pre-pandemic.
during pandemic, like now, if there are any additional certifications for you to operate.
Well, since we're not actually doing anything live, so not really.
Yeah, I think that's there's a lot of other things that our government has to deal with first before those things. So I guess we'll probably get there once we actually start doing live events. But off the top of my head, I think they would probably require. Again, I'm just speculating here. They'll probably require testing for the staff who will be manning the booths. I'm not saying this will happen. I'm just speculating, and probably vaccination records for staff para assured sila na, because if anybody, the people who are manning the booths, they'll be encountering yun talagang, they'll be in close contact with a lot of people because they're going to be transacting. So they'll probably be stricter, if anything, more strict to the staff of the booths than to the congoers. So that's at least what I expect.
I have a follow-up question, and this is of course to SMX also, with Freddie and everybody else, because Cosplay PH was lucky enough that all the employees, all the the people who are working Cosplay PH so far, the permanent staff, they are vaccinated. But I know you guys are a business. Uh, is there something like, for instance, are you requiring your own staff to be vaccinated? And if they refuse, does that affect uh, their work status inside? Because like a venue, unfortunately, it's a venue. SMX is a venue, so there are other people involved, and they have to have contact with other people. Uh, if say there's a person who's an anti-vaxxer inside the company who refuses to get vaccinated, is there some kind of thing that you can do about it, or are you forced to allow them to operate even though they're unvaccinated?
Okay.
Also be ready, because I know you have employees, also you have retail stores that are involved.
Okay, I'll start first with SMX. Well, first of all, SM as a company, I think based on what I last read, I think we're already at 0.02% fully vaccinated. So the others are soon to follow. For SMX alone, I'm happy to say there are not that. Actually, there are no anti-vaxxers, right, Martin? Everyone is fully vaccinated.
SM hotels and convention
Convention.
centers, all employees are
Employees are
100%
100%
vaccinated.
vaccinated.
Yes.
You have the pictures that our
Yeah.
employees are vaccinated, na fully vaccinated.
Fully vaccinated by LGU and by the company.
I think that goes a lot towards a lot also to give confidence to people who go to
Yeah.
Yeah. On my part, I think at the beginning, especially the start of the vaccination process, we did have some anti-vax sentiment among our staff.
Mhm.
But eventually, we didn't force anybody to vaccinate. But I was very vocal about my personal opinions. So I guess eventually they understood what I was hinting. Nobody was forced, and most of them understood what. So
they were influenced in that direction.
Yeah.
yeah, but I was very very vocal about my opinions, and I made them understand that they have to protect themselves, because again, we're going back to building confidence with your customers, and that's part of it. So it's in their best interest to make their customers feel safe. 'Di ba? So ganun yun nangyari, and some of the, like for example, hindi ko nasasabihin kung sino, but I had this particular staff that initially wanted, but then his wife said huwag ka magpa-vax kasi may mangyayari sa iyong masama. And then I eventually told him na alam mo, eventually baka mangyari is bago ka makauwi sa probinsya, kung nga rin nami-miss mo na yung misis mo, di ba? Uwi ka ng probinsya, mag-quarantine ka ng 14 days. And nung sinabi ko sa kanya malaking chance na mangyari yon, change his mind. Because you have to look at what's important to people eh.
Correct.
When he said na importante sa kanya yung misis niya, kaya siya nakikinig sa misis niya, di ginamit ko yung misis niya, gusto mo umuwi, mag-stay ka ng 14 days sa quarantine bago ka makauwi, ay nagpa-vaccinate na siya. Di ba? So you don't make up things, but you have to understand what motivates people, and that's how you convince them. You don't force them, especially with something like this. I'm against. Actually, I said nga na if you're the manager or the president of a company and you can't even convince your people to vaccinate, then probably you should question your ability to lead your organization. Diba? If you can't convince your people to do what's best for them and what's best for the company, you should seriously question your ability to lead.
We all conduct a particular event. Let's just say, it's a cosplay.ph event, and let's target let's target December, because December is Christmas, and we want to have a happy event, meaning amidst everything that's been going on in this country and the rest of the world for the past 2 years,
Mhm.
let's have a mini event, a mini live event that's not just all online. I want to ask you, how would each of you impose your own policies now, knowing that we started this discussion a while ago. We had already questions and answers and all of that. Now let's put our mindset into, let's make an event. by December of this year. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be 10,000 people because that is
Yeah,
already a health
agree.
risk. But like you already mentioned something, what about an intimate event? Maybe we can do pocket events. Maybe we can do,
Mm-hmm.
no, when you say intimate, up to how many? Because before it was like up to 10 people, then 15 people, and then now what is the number? So with that kind of mindset, let's have a cosplay.ph in partnership with SMX and our exhibitors. I will be asking you, knowing that let's say we'll have that intimate event of cosplay by this December 2021, what would be the policies you will impose?
I think the first thing you have to do is first, of course, comply with whatever the LGU or the venue
Mm.
provides. But proactively, I think you have to also provide your own set of rules and guidelines for that. The idea of, first of all, the standard, having sanitizers, having things cleaned, having things social distancing for
Sanitizers
line.
where? Sanitizers where? Will you as an event organizer provide that? And again, Freddie said this is added cost. Is that a cost that you would like to add or shoulder? Or will you require the attendees to say, if you don't have a face mask, a face shield, and a sanitizer of your own, you're not allowed, aside from the vaccination card? So
Well,
let's
I
get
think
specifics.
I think basically you have to, for instance, you really don't have a choice for now regarding the mask and the face shield because the government actually requires you to have
If
that
you go
included.
out, you have to have that.
You have to have it, so you really don't have a choice. What you do have a choice in, and what is, maybe you have to make sure the walkways are a certain distance, maybe 3 meters wide. The booths can only be populated by X number of employees that have to be vaccinated.
Mhm.
You have to apply certain restrictions to the population of the event. Ideas
How
could be
many?
like, yeah,
How many are you talking
it
about? Like,
would be
let's
based on the size of the venue. So based on venue capacity.
now let's.
So
You mentioned venue. We have SMX now. Will you maximize the entire main hall, or will you
Okay.
start off small? Pablo, what are you
Yeah.
gonna?
I think SMX has a system where they can monitor the population of people going in and out of
Mm-hmm.
each venue, so they can give us feedback regarding when it's safe to have additional people inside. Similar to like when you're going to a store or a supermarket, where there'll be a line outside, and then once enough people are in, they go out. Proactively, another way we could do it is to have online registrations or online ticket selling, where after you sell a certain amount of tickets for a certain day or time period, that's
Cut
it. You
off na
can't buy
siya.
more tickets. Cut off na siya. So
And
that
then
you're
the rest will be like on the day ticket na
parang
lang
chance
if the
passengers.
chance yeah, chance tickets will
Transparency.
go.
Yeah, transparency.
They'll take a look. Okay, sige, you can go in. Of course, we would have to have adjustments. Okay, may lumabas. Sige, pwede ka pumasok.
Yeah, parang first in first out.
Parang
And then
ganun. So,
probably for photo shoots for cosplayers, for example, we have photo shoots. There's really like a designated area already. Now you cannot go out anymore or go wherever to do photo shoots because let's face it, cosplayers sometimes photo shoots in the weirdest places, and sometimes it's a walkway that there's like a lot of people going in
Yeah.
and out. So we will be implementing like areas talaga that you can do photo shoots. And then saglit lang and then you have to go because there are like people lining up for that area.
So how's that for the photo shoot? One person comes in, and then after that shoot, spray, spray, spray. Is that how you're gonna do it? Like especially to sanitize that particular area.
If we can do it, yeah, somebody would be manning it, and then if it's possible, we can like have a like disinfectant spray that alam mo yung
yeah.
malaking spray na parang for
Yeah,
pawns.
I think the area has to be sanitized.
Yeah, you walk
Not,
through it.
not just
Yeah.
the cosplayer area. I think the area has to be regularly sanitized.
Yeah, I think like I'm not sure if SMX have like a it's every area is sanitized every hour. I'm not sure if they have like this process like that.
Let's
You know,
ask.
the elevators.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I'm asking here.
Yeah,
Bundesliga, we are wondering.
That's why I'm
yeah.
asking.
We have that naman on hand. We have that on hand. Just let us know what we need to be done. And of course, it can be arranged. We can discuss naman. But
Okay,
I
so this
wouldn't
na kayo
suggest.
shoulder ng cost.
Okay, that's on discussion on the table.
Kasi with the Freddy a while ago, he's talking about, that was a good point that we need to really blow up the cost. Because I'm assuming right now, if we're gonna create a live event, even if it's intimate, the cost will still go up. Because you're gonna now include
Yeah,
alcohol, you're gonna include, additional people, what else are we gonna include aside from the bells and whistles of
mm,
any event? So now,
yeah.
let's find out what SMX can offer, and if you're gonna be shouldering the alcohol spray, guys, we know where to have our event organized. We're done.
But you know what? The idea of Freddy a while ago was really good. The one that the barrier.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea.
There, I'd like to ask Miss Mina, are the costs for rental more expensive now than before, or it's more affordable because business is really hit?
You know what? It's flexible. We have put into place a lot of safety protocols, but we have absorbed that. Okay? We have absorbed that to practice the safety procedures right now. And of course, business is not there. We are flexible in the rates that we are giving. And we apply maximum flexibility because we want our clients to come back and to feel that confidence of our exhibitors and our clients and the visitors, the people who want to visit cosplay.
Boom, there you go. Jewel and Pablo. SMX is open by the end. I mean, it's already open now. You can have an event by the end of this year. Let's now talk to your exhibitors. Exhibitors, I'll
Yes.
start with Justin. Justin, if you have an invite to, again, be part of an exhibit, be part of that exhibit partner wherein you can put your plushies, your artwork, what would make you confident enough to say yes, okay, I'm gonna have a booth, and then what would you display? What will you say no to now that you said yes to before? What would be the changes you'll have in place now if you're gonna participate in Pablo's event and Jewel's event by the end of this year?
Like for example, like before the pandemic, you'd know that usually it's the artist area that gets filled up with a lot of people, right? Obviously, that won't be possible anymore. And I guess maybe one or two people at a time only per what in the booth itself to ensure social distancing. And depending on the items, like if they're like in plastic containers or plastic just wrapped in plastic, they'd be easier to clean than non what you call it, non
Light?
like for example, like if it's a print, you can't sanitize a print, it's gonna ruin it.
Yeah.
So I guess just laying out a display and then just pulling out the actual stock whenever someone asks for it.
Okay, question. Before the policy was you break it, you bought it. Will it be a
Yeah.
new policy? You touch it, you buy it? Is that the new policy?
Actually, that's
Sugar on
the one.
it.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
Yes,
cookie.
you touch it, it's good as
Yes.
gold.
Right.
Yes, so you wear it, you buy it.
Yeah, right? Because now we're not
So yes,
trying to.
these guys-
We don't want to go back to the olden times because there is really no going back. So we have to adapt to new policies. And so now I want to ask Justin, you're going to display your precious plushie or artwork there with the plastic. But still, that plastic is surface and you don't know, even if they have the vaccination card, they could be asymptomatic. And we don't know if it's the Delta variant or the Lambda or whatever variant it's going to turn into in 2
Um,
months. What would you do? You can
I know
touch
here's the thing. No, you have someone display, but that's like only in display. You're not gonna sell that or give it away or anything. Since it's wrapped in plastic or like covered, it's easier to sanitize it. Just spray it down with alcohol.
Okay,
The
I'll ask,
actual product would be, behind the desk or something. So because it's impossible to sell an item if people can't actually see how it looks like. So it's gonna be hard to. It's a bit hard to manage, to be honest.
Okay, I have a suggestion also, especially for the exhibitors, because this is one of the things that we're doing also in cosplay.ph. We have something called a fan mart, which is like an online shopping shopping system specifically for artists, specifically for our usual sponsors and exhibitors. And you can find it at cosplay.ph. Just look for the stores. What you what would be helpful is if they could browse through the items online first, maybe select the items that they like, place an order, and then when they get to the event, they go to the store. Then those items are ready for them, and then you also, in addition to that, you have incidental sales because they'll see, oh, ang ganda din pala itong other items na to. I can also add them to my cart and check out. The advantage of it is like less time spent on shopping, which means like less time spent on browsing through the actual items, physical items in the store. You can take a look at them online. You can take a look at the different viewpoints or views, or you can rotate it or whatever items you want to take a look at. You can see what items are available so that when you go to the actual event, it's a simple thing that you already placed your order. You just go there, you pick it up, and then you pay for it, and you're done. It's less time, less risk, and more efficiency. So something like that, where it's like a bridge between the online shopping and the on-site shopping.
Yeah, it makes sense, but um, I'm not too sure if the extra steps is gonna work out for people who would on a normal convention just pass by and buy whatever they see.
But
The impulse
at the same time,
buyers.
you might be creating
Yes,
because it's
they won't
online.
work.
They see it and then they browse it. Plus, you'll have the additional people who walk by and say, "Oh, ang ganda-ganda niyan." Okay. So you're actually adding an additional sales opportunity. It's an additional impulse buy because first you go there for that specific item, but then you're crossing to that area and then you see, oh, there's another item here. There's another booth with something I like. So you get that impulse buy, plus you get that that initial motivation to go to the event to buy the things that you really want, and then all the other incidental stuff that you receive. But at the very minimum, it gives them an idea of what they can expect.
Ressa, when Pablo and Cosplay.ph will organize an event by December, and you will be part of it, what would be your safety protocols in terms of your items? Will you put everything in plastic? Will you let people touch it? Will you, like you mentioned a while ago, you're not gonna let people wear it, but what would you do if you're gonna set up a booth in their event? For safety precaution for you and the people attending it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say what first comes to my mind, but this might change later on naman eh.
Sure.
Pero right now, what I'm thinking kasi is, yeah, I really don't want people to touch it as much as possible kasi there's a risk even if not for us, for them to transmit or to catch any possible transmission. So I was thinking na I don't know if this is possible or if it's too much in putting plastic barriers sa booth just to minimize the air transmission or such. Then with regards to what Ma'am Nina was asking earlier, then how would they know if it would fit them? So before then, pre-pandemic, we have catalogs. We have a lot of visuals in our booth. We display them for people to get a better glimpse aside from yung mga display, and we make the most out of to make it realistic as possible kasi it helps yung mga mannequins kasi since mannequins portray the body of a person, so it makes it more realistic for them to imagine, which I can see that it helps din kasi we get a lot of customers that don't bother to wear them or don't bother na isukat kasi they can see it in the mannequin and they can imagine it themselves. So I think that would help right now with regards to that. Then actually when you were talking kanina, I was slowly considering na kasi there would be customers din na mapilit na we have a freedom of choice na sige, gusto ko pa rin hawakan yan, gusto pa rin, it's okay, parang kahit na nahawakan na ng iba yan, ano namang, di ba, opinion na nila yan So I think I would consider na to set aside nga certain stocks for them. So parang at least there's a reminder na
this has been touched by another person. Although we sanitized it, pero syempre, we never know no matter how careful we are. Para at least to give them a freedom of their choice. And another thing is, I think this would be at least 90% possible, but I would like to enforce a cashless transaction since right now naman everyone is familiar with cashless transactions like GCash, PayMaya, online bank transfer. I know that there will still be people who cannot afford to do cashless transactions kasi for some reason they still rely on cash. So that's where I would want to raise that request to the organizers na baka there would be a way for them to be a medium na I don't know. It's just a rough idea. I don't know if it would be possible na
Actually, we had that system before, Ressa.
yes po.
Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
am
we do have
familiar with that.
Yeah, so we do have
Kaya
that.
I'm thinking naman na it would be the other way around Kasi po, di ba, yung system nyo before is i-offer nyo sa amin, kami exhibitors na to use your online platforms, online transactions such as your GCash or PayMaya. I was thinking the other way around how about for the con-goers who do not have GCash, who do not have PayMaya, baka there is a way for them to use your I don't know how you call it, your GCash or PayMaya to transact with us.
So basically, they would approach us with the money, and then we would deposit the amount.
Yeah, I know it's a risk din pero it's lesser contact compared to them trying to makihalubilo, trying to contact. Sorry, I forgot the term. But it's lesser contact than going to each exhibitor. It's better na there's one medium lang compared to that. That's what I was thinking. It's just a rough idea.
That's a nice idea. It's something that we could discuss, like a single checkout. So basically, they would get
for those
orders
who do not have.
Yeah, and then they just
I
come
think that's
over.
the population wherein wala silang ganon. It's very minimal na since today.
Yeah, I think the situation has actually made it like mandatory that you have some form of GCash or e-wallet.
Yes. But surprisingly po kasi we still get a lot of people who prefer cash. Surprisingly, meron pa rin po talaga na gusto nila cash talaga. Kasi we don't bother to ask na, pero baka kasi yun lang yung way kaya nila nakukuha yung pera nila through cash din. Kaya that's their only choice.
There are several solutions to it. What we could do is we could also do some kind of a partnership where they could deposit like a virtual currency or something, pay cash to get a virtual currency, or cosplay cash or something like that. That they would now be able to pay the stores for that they purchased beforehand. That like a virtual money that we can have, and we can give like a certain incentive for that. That's an interesting idea. That we would have our own.
And then cryptocurrency ni Pablo Coin.
Oh, I was about to get to that cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency, let's go
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Oh my gosh.
Tatanong na si Axie Online.
When are you gonna start mining it?
There you go. See. Now I was gonna ask. And I'd like to also ask Sir Freddy, but before you, Sir, see Ressa, would you consider having gloves? Like let's say there's a box of gloves there. Like let's say you put your outfits on display. They're all in plastic, ready to be bought, and they can try it on after they purchase it because it's theirs. What you said that you may have customers that are very insistent, and you'll tell them, oh, this has been tried on by a previous customer, but you'd want to also minimize their health risk. So maybe a box of gloves for them to wear, then they can touch or whatever, and then make sure that they're probably in long sleeves or whatnot, but at least in terms of hands, it's covered. So it could be an additional just protection for it, for that particular part. So at least
I definitely would consider that.
Yeah, at least they get to touchy-feely everything. Then they'll just throw the gloves and whatnot and not use it for another booth. Yeah, I was just thinking when you were talking. And now I'd like to ask Sir Freddy. Sir Freddy, same question. What about you? If you're going to attend a Cosplay PH event by the end of this year, in your booth, what I usually see is people get to compete in terms of computers. How will you safeguard the health of you, your staff, and also the users? What would you do?
First, I'll qualify what I'm about to say. I have the utmost confidence in Pablo's ability to organize events and keep it safe. I have utmost confidence, and mas lalo naman akong believe kay Jewel na kaya niyang enforce yun. Okay. But however, at this point, I have to wait and see and look at the situation, the national situation, before I can say I'll be joining an event by the end of the year. So we can't operate in a vacuum kasi. Like, and I'm sure Pablo and Jewel and the rest of the Cosplay PH team know that they really can't operate in a vacuum. And right now, I think we're not yet allowed to do gatherings unless we're a political party. Oops, sorry.
Ano pala, labas yun eh.
Uy, nalusot ko kay Alex.
Preno lang, preno konti.
Political.
So,
The cosplay con where you cosplay politicians.
I'll have to look, even if there was, if cosplay was running an event by end of December, by this December, I'd have to look at the national context and the situation before making a decision. And I looking at trends, I'd probably be more confident about events towards the second half of 2022. And I'm just looking at projections ng vaccination and yung number of cases and things like that. And 3 months na lang kasi yung December. So like I said, I'll probably be more confident towards the second half of 2022 at this point. And end of 2021 might be too soon. I'm not prejudging anything. As I said, things can change. We're not sure. There's a lot of variables in play. But of course, pagdating naman sa event mismo, we've already had all our staff vaccinated, and pag may symptoms, we test them immediately. So we're if we do join events, we'll be doing the same safety protocols. And definitely sa booths naman, I think yung idea ni Reza kanina na probably having yun na sinabi nga ni Pablo, having a centralized checkout and things like that could probably help, and that minimizes the contact. Yun naman yung problema, yung points of contact eh. You still want people to see your products, but you want to minimize points of contact. And we all know cash exchanges hands frequently. So it's a very, very good vector for microbes and other stuff. So a cashless payment is, probably what we can implement is give discounts to people who use cash, GCash or Paymaya, to incentivize that before they go to the event. And I think I joked with Pablo already about this. Probably get get sponsors, yung companies na alam natin that businesses improved during the pandemic. Like for example, GCash. I'm pretty sure GCash did very well.
Yes, they did. They pivoted very well.
Will be the companies who have a bigger marketing budget. So baka get your guys, get them to target these sponsors na, 'di ba? And maybe big pharma. Yung sabi ni Maribeth, 'di ba? Kung meron silang vaccination, that's medyo malabo 'yun, but we know these companies are the ones that were able to ride the pandemic very well. So, diba? So things like that, you can probably look into it. But siguro pagka you have GCash as sponsor, They can have something like lahat ng con-goers may automatic. Pag mag-apply ka ngayon ng GCash, gumawa ka ng account, you get an extra 50 pesos. Something like that. Diba? They get new users to their system na con-goers, and then automatic may GCash na sila. So they can use the 50 pesos to spend around the and then they can top up. So things like that, we can, things like that, we can be creative and think, and with how we implement those things, with looking for sponsors, integrate natin lahat yan, and then we'll probably come up with something really that, that works. So those are my thoughts. But again, I said, maski na, even if I have the utmost confidence in Pablo and Jewel and the rest of the team, I'd still have to look at the national context, and let's see what happens. And I'm really looking forward to having physical live events again. But I think December might be too, what do you call this?
Too short.
Too optimistic.
Too
So-
soon.
Too soon?
Yeah.
I agree with you, Freddie, that we really have to take a look at the situation and see how everything mounts up, and we have to really assess the situation on individual basis. But a lot of your ideas are very good. Actually, si Freddie yan, pinapanood ko yung Facebook niyan kasi maraming magagandang ideas yan lumalabas doon talaga. One of the things that I do pride myself with is I do listen to everybody and form my own decisions, but take everybody's ideas into context.
Yeah.
So sa akin naman, what we can do is the situation is not binary. It's not yes or no. It's the idea is when. Diba? That's the only conundrum that we face in the future, and what we can do when that time comes. Diba? Because we cannot just kung bukas biglang okay na, we cannot just suddenly organize a convention tomorrow. Of course, we have to do those plannings. We have to do those things way in advance. And I think the great thing about this and Freedom Hall is that we get to involve everybody inside the industry, as well as the people, you guys in Facebook. You're very important to us. Your feedback is very, very essential to what we're doing, and we want to make sure that when we do have that event, is that you can have the confidence and that safety to be in part of the event, and we want to make you comfortable with the event. So you want, if you guys have any more ideas, put them in the comments. Send us a message.
Yeah.
We're always there. 24/7. Minsan natutulog, nagta-type na lang sa computer. But that's one thing that we want to be able to have with you, is that open line of communication, always talking to everybody, always collaborating, always discussing, always planning ahead. Because we cannot be stuck in this. We have to move forward, and moving forward is very important. It's essential to what we're doing. So I'm glad everybody was able to attend, and I'd like to thank everybody who's part of this panel, who asked the questions, who are in Facebook watching us, because you guys, we're doing it for all you guys, because we're all in this together. I want to say thank you very much, and thank you to our very, very, very lovely host also, Mary Beth, for being part and giving sunshine to this to the bleak times in here.
Pablo, don't say goodbye just yet. My heart is it feels your speech, but that's my line.
Okay, sorry. No, oh, very bad.
Yeah, you know what? Direct Alex and I are chatting, and he's like, "I'm gonna." Oh, Pablo, no, but true. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Pablo and Jewel and everyone and Robert. Robert had his birthday yesterday, and he was
Yeah.
doing this. And everybody involved, Henry, all of that, because and everybody wants to keep afloat. If we're not afloat, then even the economy of the Philippines is gonna keep on going down, and we can't keep on depending on government alone. So this is a good step up to something that we'd like to do. So that's why what Sir Freddy said a while ago, Pablo, you already know what a business-minded person would think. They're gonna look at national. So that's why all of his feedback was on point. So they're gonna look at national. They're gonna look at how it's affecting the people. They're gonna look at what SMX has. They're gonna look at what exhibitors will be doing. They're gonna look at safety protocols. They're gonna look at all of that. And sponsors. He really gave you good feedback regarding Gcash. And I'll put in Shopee. I'm not endorsing them, but the mere fact that if you pay your bills via Shopee, you get discounted rates. I mean, that's a big deal. So if you're able to do something like that with a particular event, make it intimate, then we have a future for an event that probably might be this December, or if it's cutting it too soon, then again second quarter of next year, as Sir Freddy would predict. With that, we have one more question, and I will end with this. What would be the future of events that all of you are looking at or hoping to be a part of? Will it just be pure live events? Will it be pure online events, or would you want to try on something both, wherein there's something live and people on an international scale can actually also view? The floor is open to all of you saying how you'd want to answer that question. That's gonna be our last question for this evening, because we are so bombarded with a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, audience, we can't answer all that. There will be a part 2 for Freedom Hall, but for now, let's ask our guests. Would you want to just be on pure live events? Would you want to be on pure online events, or would you consider a hybrid?
Okay, I'll start.
Best.
Oh, sige.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start off. Yeah, hybrid, as everyone's agreeing to. Of course, physical event is the old normal. So we're leading towards the new normal. And we've adapted to change already in the past year and 6 months. And that's what we're leading towards too. So, yes, hybrid is coming by 2022. And what kind of hybrid that will be, it's maybe for what organizers have in mind. Their imaginations are endless. So it's either live streaming and physical, but of course, as a venue, we would want that physical to be part of that hybrid. And that's what we're gearing towards too. And of course, the international clients, they may not come here, but to give that option of normalcy in a virtual platform, maybe also something that they might be looking for. So that's what we want to do, a matchmaking, networking with the virtual and the physical event.
Thank you, Ms. Mina. Justin, what about you? Where you're leading towards what?
Oh no, hybrid events are definitely the best compromise between what the current situation and whatever we had before. There would be something for everyone if it was a hybrid event.
Okay, thank you. Jewel, what about you? You handle foreign guests. What's your take on this?
Like Pablo said before, I like to have like a hybrid event. Like I guess international attendees can still cannot attend events na live na dito sa atin. So I guess it can be like there's a live event, and then we can be showing it somewhere like Facebook as well, for those who wants to experience our events. For international guests, medyo malabo siya because even the artists themselves don't want to go out even if vaccinated sila. I guess the safety and all, of course, the quarantine, the cost is really high since you have to house them for a certain number of days before they can go out or go back to their country. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ressa, what about you? What's your take on hybrid events, live or just online?
Of the moment, in my opinion, if we're talking about having an event by the end of this quarter, maybe I'll stick to online first for safety reasons. But like we all said, this is subject to change because we never know what might happen even in just a week or two. So if that would be the case, I'm leaning towards I would be open to a hybrid event then. Because like Justin said, that is the best compromise given the current situation.
Okay, thank you. Sir Freddy, what about you? Will you say, online muna? Kaya naman namin online eh. Or are you open to partial live, partial online?
I'm definitely looking forward to live events. I've told Pablo before that It's something that I'm really looking forward to, and it's something that we actually really need para maging complete yung experience no what our industry is all about. So it's something that we need, but uh, we have to be realistic, and we all know that we probably will have to do hybrid events, and instead of looking at it as a compromise right now, I think what conventions and the organizers can do is uh, integrate it and then offer it as an added value to their sponsors and exhibitors, like yung sinabi niya kanina. Have parang Cosplay PH na parang store, virtual store before the event para ma-minimize din yung contact sa customers, where customers can pre-order. And how you can push people there is, again, offering a discount. If you pre-order something early and pick it up at the event, you get a discount. And I'm pretty sure the vendors and exhibitors would be willing to participate in something like that. And I would definitely see something like that as an added value instead of just a compromise. Diba? We all know that the first few events that will be run, we probably will not see attendances that are the same as before. Not only because of restrictions, but also because of personal reasons of some people. They might not feel comfortable or safe yet, and we have to respect that. But again, yung sinabi ni Pablo na may online store sa Cosplay PH, that definitely reaches a different market that what I'm usually able to reach. So that's mainly the reason we join events anyway, is to reach a market that is not yet something na accessible for, not yet in our circle. That's why we're joining events. That's why we're spending marketing money. And if it's positioned as an added value, di ba? And I think exhibitors and vendors will appreciate it. Yung mga efforts na ganun, like having an online store nga sa cosplay website na pwedeng mag-pre-order, we'd be more than willing to participate in things like that. If you can get GCash on board, di ba? Tapos gagawin natin, o pag ginamit mo yung GCash sa booth namin, we'll give you a discount. So you incentivize the behavior you want to happen, and then turn that into something positive. Win-win tayong lahat. Win yung sponsor mo, win yung vendor, win yung Cosplay Mania, win si SMX kasi people are coming. Diba? So that's how I look at it. So we just have to be more creative with things like that. And yun, I guess I think it's been some of the ideas I'm coming up on the fly right now, discussing things with you people. So I think this was a very fruitful online meeting, or I don't know what to call it.
Gathering.
Brainstorming.
Yes, definitely. And it's nice because these are all doable. There are systems already in place. Companies have done it. And to add to what Sir Freddy was mentioning a while ago, Pablo, like he said, incentivize the positive behavior you would like to happen, and still give an option to a congoer or like a participant, meaning if they want to go to the event and they pick up their item, then it's a more discounted price, versus if they want it delivered, then it's a certain price. Then you can partner up now with all the Grab,
Another sponsor.
And then you have a whole bunch of other sponsors because they're doing it now anyway. That's how the restaurant started earning again, because they partnered up with all the delivery guys. And I'm like number one user of that. I don't go out to buy my food. I just like order, and they give me all the discounts in the world. 150 pesos off if you order from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Imagine if Reza or Justin will say, okay guys, we're gonna have 20% discount if you're gonna order online from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Then you can have it Grab delivered. Guess what? You get like one Grab for free or something like that. So then it makes it a busy event that's not just live. Then you have something going on live. She's monitoring online, and she has somebody like running to the Grab, giving, or no, the Grab is going to the event and then getting the stuff, and then makikipicture ulit yun kay Reza, and then so now you have these delivery guys in and out, and they already have their own system protocols in
Oh,
place.
a little related to that too. You know how Shopee usually has those sales where they have free shipping?
Yeah.
Like incentivizing people to spend during that time, you actually get a spike of sales during that time. So incentivizing really does help with promoting events and stuff like that.
Free condo from SMX. Thank you. Alright. And with that, I'm gonna wrap it up because we're actually on overtime and we have a whole lot of people asking questions. So this time I will give everyone a chance to say their last messages to our audience, people on Discord and those on Facebook. I will start with Justin. Go, Justin.
Okay, so usually Nyadarin takes our most common thing nowadays is taking commissions online and selling artist merch on Shopee. Here's an example of a custom plushie we made.
Cute. That's so cute. Okay.
Basically, we get people to purchase the base, which is an original one, like that's already made in Japan.
Now let's move on to Ressa. Ressa, what about you? Anything you'd like to share to the audience, and also what are the things that you'd like to promote, and how can they find you?
For those who are not familiar with our brand yet, I hope you could take your time to check our Facebook page. We are much more active on Facebook and Instagram, in social media in particular. So just search Fairy in Disguise. So I'm saying this for those who are not familiar. We create mainly fandom inspired apparel, which are we are more inclined into creating inspired apparel from different anime and games.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Sir Freddy. Your turn. What to say to the audience, and what are you gonna promote, and how do we find you?
You can check out the Ludus Distributors Facebook page. Also, we're currently doing a lot of publishing our own games na designed by Filipino designers. Check out the Facebook page of Larong Atin. And siguro I can talk a little bit about it. We're currently developing a game based on the 13 animation, 13 comic book. So watch out for that. Siguro baka early next year we'll have it. Aside from that, something not work related, if you want to hear more of my personal opinion, I have a YouTube channel. I call it F that. I've just recently started. So if you want
Political ba yan?
medyo lang.
So we're now going to move on to Kirsten, RV, and of course Miss Mina.
Of SMX Convention
Yeah.
Center. As you can see on your screen right now, we do have the SMX repurposing programs that we mentioned earlier, the SMX facility, SM Exams, SMX Studio, SMX Soul Kitchen, SMX Swing Spaces. And as you remember, I mentioned that we're also handling different hotels here in the Philippines. We also have in Tagaytay, which is Taal Vista Hotel, in Batangas, Pico Sands Hotel, in Pico del Oro. If you want to have your staycation there, just contact us, or you can visit our Facebook page or our website. And in Western Visayas naman, we also have Park in Beralison, Bacolod. We just opened last July 2021, this year lang din. So we are promoting our introductory rate, which you can enjoy our superior room until September 30, 2021 for a very special rate.
And with that, last but not the least, because I know these people have that heartwarming message, Jewel and Pablo from Cosplay.ph. Parting words, what are you gonna promote, and how are they gonna find you on the next Freedom Hall?
Well, we have like a Facebook page, Cosplay Mania. We also have like the Cosplay PH website, which also houses the fan mart. Actually, we Cosplay Shop is also hosted there, which has some of our guest merchandise. I think Boiled Curry's merchandise is already there. All of it are signed actually by the cosplayer. Stay tuned. Also, we're planning also additional meet and greets with other guests and potential guests, international guests for participants and fans. So if you have any suggestions, just drop a message. And also for yung mga ibang merchandise, please stay tuned for shipment. So it's gonna be shipped by tomorrow.
I'd like to thank everybody for being part of this event. tell us if you want more of this event. If you like the idea of being able to talk to us being able to listen to you. Tell us what you think. We're very open and we're very dependent on you guys. And you guys can give us ideas. You can give us your opinions, and we will take it into consideration because the event is, kahit paano, it's all about you guys. So I'd just like to thank you and everybody who worked at this event in making it such a successful discussion, an interesting discussion. Actually, I learned so much from everybody here, and I'd like to extend my invitation for you guys to be part of the community and to keep in touch because in these trying times, we do need all the help we can get. We do need all the friendships and relationships that we forge to continue to sustain us so that we can come out of this better than ever. And hopefully, we can make lemons out of lemonades and puke rainbows after this this big endurance test that we're all encountering. So thank you all of you for being part of this, and hang on because we have prize fight after this where we're giving away Nendoroid as well as big cash vouchers to everybody who attends. And even people in Facebook, you guys can win T-shirts. We'll tell you how you can win those T-shirts at Prize Fight. Thank you everyone once again for being part of this, and hang on because we're still more in store with Prize Fight. Thank you once again, and have a great evening.